All right. Wanted to do a quick video now that I've spent, adequate time on both the solo stick from Hunt Arsenal and the mobile sniper. This is my second season with the mobile sniper, so I've got lots of experience on that. Excuse me. And I've done 4 hunts now on the solo stick. In a nutshell, I'm still mobile sniper all day, every day. You simply cannot beat it. The size, the comfort, the versatility of it, you just can't beat it. In my opinion, I've said this a million times in Facebook groups and with friends, it's worth its weight in gold. It's just such a good platform. That said, I also really like the solo stick. There are a couple things that if it were up to me, I would change. One is I would like a little bit more of an angle on the front of it. If you are not at an almost vertical angle, that thing is digging into the sole, the arches of your foot hard. And the foot fatigue, the ankle fatigue gets rough quick. And I'm wearing Crispies. They're about the stiffest boots you can find. Even with that, it gets uncomfortable after a while. So if you are standing, relatively vertical, which I do like to do, I will say that I do a very low tether and a very short bridge so that I'm more vertical. I like to be up tight to the tree and be able to maneuver and kind of tuck around and take my shots. I don't do the weak side shot. It's either reach around and shoot 2 to 3 o'clock or, pass up the opportunity. I don't do the weak side shot. I've had bad experiences personally doing it. However, with the mobile sniper, you can take that weak side shot like you're standing on a tree stand and turn your back to the tree, and it's not even a weak side shot anymore. So you can shoot that, 2 to 5 o'clock without being in a weird situation or a weird angle, twisting and not getting a good draw, whatever. So, the solo stick, I think, has its place. Absolutely is where I'm going with this. I'm keeping it. I'm hanging on to it. It's perfect for those, I'm going to sneak in last hour of daylight situations, or I'm going to do a quick hunt before work. The lack of weight on that stick is unreal. I mean, that thing is feather light. I think it's like 2 pounds or 2.1 pounds bare. So maybe 2.5, 3 pounds when you've got, I run Amsteel 8ers and the Amsteel rope mod with the cam cleat. You're barely over 2 pounds. So if you're, doing long hikes or short hunts, that lack of weight is definitely a benefit. So I'm trying to weigh out the pros and cons here. I did a couple, 3 out of those 4 hunts, I was on that solo stick for about 5.5, 6 hours each time. The other one was about 3 hours. It's doable, absolutely. But I can tell you, your feet are going to be a little bit sore while you're up there. You're going to have to move around a little bit more to get comfortable than you normally would. If my feet or my ankles start to get sore or fatigued on the mobile sniper, I could literally just stand straight up, get up on there and stand up on it facing the tree or facing away like you're on a tree stand. There's that much room. And I say this almost every video, but to give you some perspective, I'm 6'4", 230 pounds. I wear a size 13 or a size 14 boot. So I'm not a tiny guy, and I've got more than enough foot room on there. So just, again, being transparent about it. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I buy my own shit, I use my own shit, and I pay full price for it. So if you want my God's honest answer, I would go mobile sniper all day long. But again, now that I have both, I'm definitely keeping both. I could see a role or a purpose for both. Also, I have a 12-year-old daughter. Next year, I'm more than likely getting her in a saddle, getting her up in a tree to she's not hunting on her own yet. She's not ready to. I'm not going to push it, but her feet will fit on that platform without an issue. It's light, so it's not going to be strenuous for her to carry. I want to utilize that to her advantage as well as mine and get her on one sooner rather than later. So, and again, I can use it myself. I've got buddies come hunt with me, so if, keep it in the truck when I go down to hunt with friends in case I gotta pass the semi, in case somebody forgets their gear or whatever. Sorry, passing a dump truck. But yeah, I've met people from both companies. I've been to hunting expos, both stand-up companies, both amazing products. Both have their place, without a shadow of a doubt. Jarrett over at Treetop Hunting Outdoors, met him personally a couple times now. Absolutely incredible guy, smaller company. Well, at least he was. By now, he's probably on the bigger side. He's getting a lot of recognition over this mobile sniper. If you don't know, because I don't have the sticks out, mobile sniper is in my back seat right now. I'm headed down to do a doe hunt. If you don't know, mobile sniper is the one that has the almost like a modular setup. You have the second half of the platform that you attach once you were hunting height. I've joked in other videos about the way I've seen other guys attach that second half. Being a tall guy and doing the foot into the tree and leaning back and doing it just doesn't work for me. One, I'm very tall. Two, I'm not the most flexible person in the world. So I like to get up to where I'm at hunting height. I know that's where I want to be. And then I do like I'm going to move my stick, wrap the legs around the tree, reach down and drop that second half on. I just hang it off of a 3D printed hook I've got on the back of my saddle. I want to say it was Genesis 3D Printing or whatever. One of those companies has a little accessory hook you can attach to your saddle. But yeah, I could play devil's advocate either way. Again, if you're I'm not a public land guy. I will also throw that out there. I hunt exclusively private ground. I have dabbled in private or in public a couple times. If you are doing miles and miles and miles, I can see the weight difference being a big decision factor in what you choose to go with. I'm very, very fortunate to have about 165 acres of family land to be able to hunt. It's been in our family for 100 plus years. Beyond fortunate to have that. I would say my longest hike, if I am doing the most difficult way to get into a spot, is probably about 3/4 of a mile. Our property is a very stretched out, broken into 3 sectors. I would say about 3/4 of a mile in the worst case situation. So those extra few pounds of having a mobile sniper, not really a deciding factor for me. But if you're on public and you're, hiking 6, 7, 8 miles for whatever reason, those extra couple pounds can make a big difference. I also run the Stag Stealth Pack. I've mentioned it. I've showed it in videos. In my opinion, as a one-stick saddle hunter, multiple sticks maybe not, but as a one-stick saddle hunter, it's the best pack you can buy. Greg Staggs, amazing guy, amazing pack. You can tell, and I have the Gen 1. I can't remember if it's the regular or the large, to be honest. I'd have to look at it to figure that out, but it's just really well designed. It's really well thought out. The platforms, both the mobile sniper and the one stick, hook perfectly on the front of the pack. I've got room for extra layers, my Arctic shields for a day like today where it's going to drop and it's going to be really cold, ropes, accessories, all that kind of stuff. So highly recommend that pack. I freaking hate zippers. They're the noisiest thing ever in the woods. There's nothing worse than hearing as you're undoing a zipper. And who knows, do I think deer actually hear it? Probably not if there's any wind. But still, to me, it's like the loudest freaking thing ever. So to have a pack with no zippers on it is fantastic. Super soft and quiet material. Can't recommend that pack enough if you're a one stick guy. I'll chime in a little bit on some stuff I've been seeing on some of these Facebook groups lately, and then I'll shut the hell up. I've been seeing a lot of guys that don't one stick and don't saddle hunt to constantly bash it. If you're watching this video and you're a guy that does a mobile setup, but it's a stick or sticks and stand, again, to each their own. Hunt the way you want to hunt. Nobody cares. The reason I got into saddle hunting, and I've mentioned this in some of my one sticking tutorial videos, I am absolutely terrified of heights. We had to put a cover on our camper this past weekend for the winter. It's 12 feet tall. I absolutely freaking hated being on top of that thing. Absolutely hated. I'm terrified of heights. I am the biggest chicken pansy, whatever you want to call it, in the world when it comes to heights. However, I can go up 25 feet on a tree saddle hunting and not even be remotely nervous about it. I've never been in a situation while saddle hunting where I felt unsafe, I felt disconnected, I felt slack. all of those things. When I one stick, I will add, and I've shown this in some of my other videos, I am using a linesman on the way up. I want to always be attached to the tree and under tension. Sure, if I am going that initial climb when I first hang the stick and I go up and I'm only using a linesman, if I slip and fall, yeah, I'm definitely going to get hurt. I'm going to get scraped up. But am I going to die? No. Am I going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. If I am above that first set, and again, if you know one stick and you know saddle hunting, I'm usually hunting anywhere from 12 feet off the ground to maybe 18 at the most. Late season is when I start to push that 20-foot mark. But early season, I mean, it's all about cover. You want to be in cover. You want to have, back cover, something that breaks up your outline behind you, possibly in front of you too, if you can, and still have a good shooting lane. But when I first got into it, my first season of one sticking or saddle hunting in general, I was trying to go 30 feet in the freaking tree. And then I'm like, man, this is up there. You get a little breeze, that tree's moving 8 feet back and forth. And it was like, holy, this is like a roller coaster ride from hell up here. Then I realized this is stupid. I don't need to do this. So my point is, no matter what height you're at, no matter where you're at, as long as you have rappel line that's touching the ground when you get up there, you're safe. You're attached to the tree. You're under tension. I run the Virgo, Trango Virgo, I think is the official full name of it. I run that rappel device. I don't think there's a rappel device out there that is technically self-locking or a belay device. Everybody's got different terminology for them. I back mine at hunting height with a Prusik loop. It's a hang-free, sells them, so do a bunch of other companies. But it's I want to say a 21 or a 22-inch 6mm PRC loop, sewn loop. And I wrap it around 4 times, run it back through itself, hook it to my carabiner, and I'd put enough tension on it, because I've messed with it at home. If you do not get that thing tight before you're relying on it, it's just going to slide down the rope. So make sure you do that if you are back-ended up, which I highly recommend. But the advantage of it, you see all these stories of guys in climbers or with sticks. I had let me back up for a second. Let my ADHD chill out for a second. The reason I made the switch from multiple sticks to one stick, one was weight, of course. I don't want to haul in 40 pounds of shit if I don't have to. 2 is, I was climbing down in the dark one time. I had 4, not that it matters, because it can happen with any stick, but I was running 4 trophy line sticks at the time, and I want to say the Mission platform. I think whatever their biggest one is. I think it's called the Mission. I'm climbing down in the dark, and I misplaced my foot, and I had a stick kick out on me, and it hurt. I slid down, I caught the next stick with my kneecaps, and ow would be a drastic understatement. I thought I broke both of my kneecaps. It hurt a lot. Even thinking about it gives me goosebumps. It hurt a lot. And then I was like, okay, that's my number one risk. Being at hunting height, I'm tethered in, I'm whatever. But the beauty of one sticking is, and I've seen a lot of guys start doing this even with like sticks and stands, where they're still running a rappel line, because if you fall or a stand kicks out from underneath you and you are on just a tether, you're stuck there. You don't have an easy way to get down from the tree. Is it feasible? Yes. Can you make something work in the moment? Yes. But a lot of guys, I'd say 90+% of us hunters, do not have the knowledge or the skill set of how to do that, especially in a oh shit moment where you're like, I just fell. I'm now hanging off the side of this tree and I don't know how I'm going to get down. So just keep that in mind, that this is a way that I highly recommend, whether you're in a ladder stand, a freaking hang-on stand, a climber, whatever. You need an option to get down should something fail. And I don't think that there's a better or a safer method to do it than a rappel line. So no matter what, this whole thing for me is about safety, comfort, safety, versatility, all those things. But the safety is number one. I just read an article about a guy, 68 years old, I think it was in Kentucky, climber stand, fell out, bottom part. I've never used a climber, for the record, and it's not for any prejudice reason. I've just never used one. But I've read a million stories where the climber falls out from underneath them. Well, this guy died, by the way. I will supplement that information in take with it what you want. He did not have a safety harness on. He was 20 plus feet off the ground, and his climber felt like, I think it snapped. It was an older climber, wasn't well maintained. He clearly didn't inspect his gear. And, condolences to the family, of course. I don't remember the guy's name. It's horrible no matter what way you look at it. However, 100% preventable. And you read these stories all the time. They're on Facebook every freaking day. Every day, a hunter fell out of a tree stand. Hunter's paralyzed. Hunter's dead. And the worst case scenario is when it's a teenager or a kid. Like, I just can't imagine my family getting that phone call. So my number one priority is safety. I've got a wife and 3 kids. I want to make sure I go home to them at the end of the hunt. I would highly recommend, no matter what method of hunting you do, you look into, purchase, and practice a rappel setup in the event of a fall. We have many hunters that hunt our family property, all family members, with the exception of me occasionally bringing a friend down with me. I don't think any of them use safety harnesses. I've brought it up multiple times, but I don't want to be a Karen. But man, I hope I never get that phone call. And these guys are hunting ladder stands. I'm the only one who uses a mobile setup. They're hunting ladder stands that have been on the property for 5-10 years. They probably have had the same set of ratchet straps on them the whole time, which in my opinion is it's a suicide sentence. I mean, you're asking for that stand to fall out from underneath you. Squirrels chew on them. The sun deteriorates them. The trees are continuing to grow, so they're stretching those straps more and more if you don't let the tension off of them. You're asking for a tragic event. And we're all big guys. I think the smallest of us might be 190, 195 pounds. I got family members there, 260, 300 pounds, and they're hunting a ladder stand with no safety harness on it. Think, guys, like, just do the right thing. Spend a little bit extra. You can get a top end rappel device. And I'm talking, you can get a figure 8 for $15, $20 if you want to go about it that way. And I've done videos on it. I've got a video on my page, shows you how to climb and rappel and hunt with a figure 8. Very easy, very inexpensive. I highly recommend Hang Free for ropes. Anything rope related, I'm buying it from Hang Free. Not that there's anything against anybody else out there, but I know I've never, ever had a product that is not absolutely top-notch quality. They also publicize their third-party testing. So it's not just an Amsteel rope that Joe Schmo in his freaking garage threw together. No offense to the guys that do it that way. But these products are tested to extreme limits by a third-party company, and their information is public knowledge. So again, spend the extra couple dollars for the peace of mind of knowing I weigh 230 pounds, but this thing's rated for 5,000. There is no situation where my body weight is going to break that rope. I got because I run a belay device or rappel device, you have to have certain diameters. Pay attention to that. But I run the Trango Virgo. I run a 9mm. I think it's a Canyon rope from Hang Free is what I upgraded to. I used to have a different kind. That one seems to be the most recommended, so I picked it up. But you can get both of those things. The Trangos you can get right on Amazon, or a Gree Plus I had before that. The only reason I switched was the Trango Virgo is much more compact. Mad Rock is another one a lot of guys talk about. I've never personally used the Mad Rock, so I'm going to tread carefully here. But I see posts constantly, almost on a daily basis in Facebook groups of guys posting videos of their Mad Rocks, and they are slipping. When I looked from going from a figure 8 to a Mad Rock or a rappel belay device, it was the number one reason why I did not even try a Mad Rock, is because I am seeing those videos on a daily basis or almost a daily basis. Gree Plus, the smoothest rappelling device I have tried, and I've tried multiple now. The Trango Virgo is almost as smooth, not quite, but the compact, lightweight comparison makes a big difference. When you're climbing up, all that extra weight of the Gree can kind of slide down the rope a little bit, whatever. Not a end-all, be-all. I ended up giving that Gree Plus or selling it to my buddy Levi, and it's an amazing product. So either way, you can get one of those devices, and a top-notch rope, 40 foot of it is what I recommend. You can get away with 30 if you're not hunting that high. It's not going to change your price a whole lot. But you can get those two things for about, I'd say comfortably about $120, maybe $130. and then you get one of those looped or auto block or a Prusik loop that's 22 inches long. And there you go. It's worth that money. There's no hunter in the woods who can justify not spending an extra 130, 140 bucks. We have all spent hundreds, if not thousands, on our gear. Spend another 100 plus bucks and get yourself a rappel setup. That's my TED talk for the day. That's my rant. Be safe. Nobody wants a phone call that their friend or their family member died in the woods over something 100% preventable. Just be safe. All right. Be safe out there. Have fun. Enjoy your hunt. And, I love it. All right. I'm going to shut up. I got to go grab some batteries out of Walmart because I got to put some in, a camera when I get down there. And then, yeah, time to rock and roll.